Every deck is made for standing on, but there's only one that's always had a way of standing out. So if you're looking to bring more style, comfort, and creativity to your life outdoors, call on the brand that's known for making the most in outdoor living. From decking, railing, and lighting to furniture, fencing, and framing, at Trex, we're engineering what's next in outdoor living. To learn more about all of the outdoor solutions Trex has to offer, call 1-800-289-TREX or visit Trex.com. That's TREX.com.
Good Thursday morning. Glad you're with us. Golic and Wingo, ESPN Radio and ESPN2. We are always presented by Progressive Insurance. All phone guests join us on the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line. Mike Golic, Trey Wingo here. You, my man, look stellar today.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Got my hair cut.
Got a haircut.
Well, I have to get ready for my Orange Theory workout that my wife and I do. We have to do a mile run today for time.
So what does that have to do with a haircut?
Seriously?
Yeah.
When you run, less drag.
So just shave it off then.
Well, I don't want to shave it off.
I don't tell you about drag on your haircut.
I got to take away the drag so I can go faster.
See, here I am. Yeah. I'm coming in. I'm complimenting because I'm thinking, at our age, whenever you can get a haircut, it's a good thing.
Right.
And you're going to get haircuts longer than me. I see how that's going to go in my future. But I did not expect the wild U-turn of, yes, I got the haircut because I needed to be more drag efficient.
It's for performance. It's all performance.
So it's not a PED. It's a PEH.
That's
a performance-enhancing haircut.
That's exactly right.
Okay. If you had a minute and 41 seconds into the show where it completely devolved, congratulations today. You're the winner.
And if I were D'Antoni, I would have gone with the sorry, I'm not sorry.
Yeah.
Instead of some people don't like the way you play sorry out of it. Sorry, I'm not sorry.
And
suckers.
I'm going to keep being not sorry about it, as it looks like we may be having something in the Western Conference Finals that we thought we might not have.
They're just being them.
Yeah.
We're just being us.
And we just want to be us. Yeah. We're glad you're with us. Golic and Wingo, presented by Dollar Shave Club. Upgrade to shaving with a fresh blade whenever you want for a fraction of the price. Join DollarShaveClub.com today, and we start with what's trending. And what's trending is Houston in an upward direction. The Rockets beat the Warriors 127-105, giving Golden State its fourth worst playoff loss under head coach Steve Kerr. But while the result was different from Game 1, the formula, Mike, was the same.
It really was. So I'm sure a lot of people are going to go, well, they obviously played a little differently. They didn't play so much of that ISO game.
Nope.
It turns out most of the numbers are exactly the same. Assist opportunities, Game 1 to Game 2, both 35. Isolations, Game 1, 45, Game 2, 46. Passes, Game 1, 231, Game 2, 233. What they did is they just spread it out a little more. Instead of 26 ISOs for Harden, he had 16. Paul went from 10 to 16. The rest of the team went from 9 to 14. Just more guys did it, and then they hit more guys with open passes.
Right.
And, oh, by the way, guys made their shot, something they're still looking for in Cleveland for the other guys, as they say, to make their shots. That's what they're looking for, where last night you get the Trevor Arizas putting in 19, the P.J. Tuckers putting in 22, the Eric Gordon, he had a monster night, puts in 27, guys hitting their shots. More opportunities, same formula, looked a little different, but one thing else that was the same that we're going to get to, they still picked on Steph Curry on the defensive side of the ball.
Yeah, there's a lot of actually fascinating discussion to have about Steph right now because of what he has been, what he is doing, and maybe more importantly, what he isn't doing.
Right.
Both offensively and defensively for Golden State. We'll get to that in a little bit. But we can't talk about Game 2 of the Western Conference Finals without one second stat.
Okay, do it.
Again, the same number of assist opportunities, ran one more isolation play, and just two more passes. That's it. So basically, they did the exact same thing. And it worked out this time because they were making their shots. But the real question comes, do we believe this was a one game, hey, we're ticked off because we got steamrolled in the first game, or do we believe this is something we can continue to do?
Here's the thing. I mean, they won 65 games. They're a really good team, and they're going to play their way. That thought of them playing a different way after Game 1 was a ridiculous thought.
It was.
They have to play like exactly who they are. But like anything else, you have your star in Harden, but other guys need to step up. Another guy stepped up last night. We've seen also the formula for Golden State when you get a little fat and happy, like they do, win Game 1. You start to feel good about yourself. They turn the ball over.
Right.
15 turnovers, 7 in the first quarter, 11 in the first half. So they got a little sloppy, maybe got a little full of themselves, and they couldn't get back in this one because of the hot shooting from Houston.
And as the clock runs out, I'm just going to say one thing really quickly, okay? GM Del Morey, the Rockets, has said we're obsessed with finding ways to beat them.
Yeah.
I think they're doing like everything the Warriors have done. Remember the series against the Pelicans? who was it? Draymond Green texted Kevin Durant late night and said, hey, man, you got to do this. Well, apparently P.J. Tucker got a call from James Harden at 1 a.m.
Yeah.
So if it worked for Golden State doing the late night conversation over a phone, either a phone or a text, we're going to do it in Houston, do the same thing.
Big difference. P.J. Tucker didn't answer the phone.
That's also true.
Yeah.
As we continue what's trending.
As they say in hockey, let's do that hockey.
Long live Chance the Rapper. The Golden Knights defeated the Jets 4-2 to take a 2-1 series lead. Jonathan Marchessault started and finished the scoring for Vegas as he became the first player in NHL history to score in the first and last 60 seconds of the same Stanley Cup playoff game.
And let's just throw a Vegas, and you know what else is in Vegas with the whole gambling thing going on. That last goal he got, which was the empty netter, the over-under on that game
was 5.
Was 5?
Yeah.
No, I'm sorry. They posted a total of put the game over the posted total of 5.5.
There you go.
So with that empty netter, it went over the 5.5. You gotta love it being in Vegas. But he does lead Vegas with 8 goals and 9 assists this postseason. Those 17 points are one shy of matching the NHL record for most by a player in a team's first playoff appearance. And to think about it, is the Jets have been getting shots like crazy in the second, third period. Way more shots than the Golden Knights. So, you know, again, we look at goaltending and how good it can be, and we continue to see it for Vegas going up in this series now 2-1.
So now Vegas is just 2 wins away from doing something that was last done in the NHL by the St. Louis Blues in the 67-68 season, an expansion team making it all the way to the Stanley Cup Finals. However, again, hashtag asterisk parenthesis whatever you want to do. That year, the entire Western Conference was an expansion.
Yeah, so
they
it was
were all
going to happen. Yeah.
It was going to happen. It just was which one of these guys was going to do it. It's a little different with what the Golden Knights are doing, and congratulations to them as they are now 2 games away from playing for the Chalice, the Stanley Cup. Well, 2017 seems like a long, long, long time ago for the Dodgers. The Marlins beat the Dodgers 6-5 last night, sending L.A. into last place in the NL West by percentage points and 10 games, Mike, below 500 for the season.
Yeah, not good. It's the earliest date they've reached that mark since 1929.
Ouch.
And oh, by the way, the quickest to reach 10 games under 500 in baseball history in a season after winning 100 games, they have tied the 1986 Cardinals doing it in 42 games. By the way, they stink.
Wait, was that an opinion? Was it, by the way, they stink?
They stink, and they weren't supposed to. The Marlins were supposed to stink. They have the exact same record.
Exactly.
The Marlins going into the season had 500-1 odds, worse than baseball, to win the World Series. The Dodgers were 9-2.
Yeah.
Tied for the best in baseball. So tied for the best to the worst, and they had the exact same record.
They had Game 7 at their place at the World Series last year. Basically, the same team comes back. Now, Turner, is Turner back yet? Yeah, Turner's back from the injury. So they're just sort of rounding into form. But again, the only teams with a lower winning percentage than the Dodgers, who represented the National League in the World Series last year, the Cincinnati Reds are winning at a 341 clip. And Bubble Boy Devon's White Sox, at under 300, at 256 winning percentage, are the only teams with and the Orioles. The Orioles. Those 3 teams are the only 3 teams with a lower winner percentage.
By the way, the Reds just swept the Dodgers.
Exactly right. And you know who doesn't like that?
Who's that?
That would be Bubble Boy's favorite player, a soon-to-be White Sox outfielder, not pitcher.
Hey, baby, go White Sox.
Mm-hmm.
Go Sox, baby.
There you go. So that's what you can say. Hey, we're not going well, but we're almost as bad as the Dodgers were, and they went to the World Series a year ago.
There you go.
That's the rallying cry.
Spin it forward,
for the White Sox.
Spin it forward. Glass half full.
Well, or it's just full of something.
To dribble glass.
That might be, or a sippy cup. Mm-hmm. One of those 2 things. Okay, so Houston's James Harden, Cleveland's LeBron James, and New Orleans' Anthony Davis are the finalists for the MVP award this year, which will be given out June 25th in a televised show in L.A.
Yeah, so they made the show out of the start of this last year. Yeah, a lot of the sports are doing. I think it's a cool thing. It just seems so weird so far after. Now, it's not that far after the finals, but these are all regular season awards.
Right.
And the regular season has been over for, I believe, about a year and a half because the playoffs are so long. But there you go. Those are your 3 finalists for MVP. Rookie of the Year, your finalists are Ben Simmons, Donovan Mitchell, and Jason Tatum, who, if you wanted to do that one, including the playoffs.
I think we all know where that would go.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Most Improved, Victor Oladipo, Capella, and Dinwiddie from Spencer Dinwiddie. 6th man, Eric Gordon, Lou Williams, Fred VanVleet. Coach of the Year, Brad Stevens, Quinn Snyder, and Dwayne Casey, who doesn't have a team. And Defensive Player of the Year, Anthony Davis, Joel Embiid, and Rudy Gobert. Those are your finalists, again, for their televised award show at the end of June. Cool thing. I do like the award show.
I do.
I
think they're trying to do what the NFL does with the NFL honors, that whole thing, which is done Super Bowl week, the Saturday before the Super Bowl. You know, it is interesting in looking at these 3 guys that are up for the MVP. I think we all know where the bronze medal's going, and that would be to Anthony Davis. So it's really the gold and silver thing between Harden and LeBron. And I do, again, find it interesting. Last year, Russell Westbrook won the MVP essentially because he averaged a triple-double for a year, which hadn't been done since Oscar Robertson in the early 60s. And then Russell Westbrook did it for a second straight year, and we are so over that already. I mean, we have just seamlessly moved on from that.
Yeah, we have.
Not even in the top 3. Yeah. Is not going to be on the podium, even though he's done something that no one had ever done before. And how quickly we turned on the idea of how special that was. Yeah. Like, that happened last year.
It was special because it was done so long ago.
Exactly.
All of a sudden, not so special. It was done last year.
But he's done it twice in a row, which has never happened before.
I get it.
It's like we moved on from the black and gold dressed and blue and white dress to the Yanni Laurel thing, and now we moved on.
Yeah.
He became Yanni Laurel in a year. That's exactly what happened.
Move on to the next thing. And we don't even remember the black and white dress.
And Cliff still thinks I'm lying when I hear Yanni. So I say, Cliff, for crying out loud! That's just the way it is. I hear Yanni, and that's all there is to it. Okay, so that was what's trending, but you know what's going to be trending in about a month? Mm-hmm. The single greatest thing in the history of the world. Golic and Wingo Leadership Retreat! Again, this is the greatest corporate scam of all time.
I'm amazed.
Yeah.
I'm absolutely amazed how we pulled it off, but yet we did. We're pulled off the Golic and Wingo Offsite All-Hands Town Hall Leadership Retreat Strategy Session Golf Tournament. Basically, we're going to Pinehurst and we're golfing,
Correct.
And you guys get a chance to come with us.
And none of us are paying for any of it.
That's the beautiful thing.
That is the beautiful thing.
So here you go. You can enter from today all the way till Friday, May 25th. All right? There's going to be 4 winners. What you're going to get is a 3-day, 2-night trip to Pinehurst Resort in Pinehurst, North Carolina, round-trip airfare for you and 2 guests. We'll explain. Yes. Premium accommodations at Pinehurst Resort, including hotels, meals, a ton of swag as well. This is going to be June 21st, 22nd, and 23rd. Basically, you're going to go down there. There's going to be 4 winners, and each winner will get to bring 2 people. So you're making a threesome, and then we'll continue. We'll fill the foursome out for golf.
Right.
With Trey on one team, myself on another, my son Mike on one, and Stu Gotts from the Dan Le Batard Show.
Maybe.
Most likely, unless he screws it up, and
Correct.
we'll see if he screws it up today when he joins us.
So really, we're giving 12 people an opportunity.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. So 4 winners, you get to bring 2 guests each, and this is how you do it. You get 1 entry, gang, 1 entry and 1 entry only. You have to be following us at Golic and Wingo, our Twitter handle. So you're going to tweet to us, and you're going to hashtag it Golf with GW Contest. You get 1 entry, 1 tweet. You can make it whatever you want. A picture, a video, just write something to us, whatever you want, but make it good. Stand out.
Yes.
Think outside of the box thinking, originality. Get yourself
real corporate
noticed.
Thoughts.
That's what we're looking for here. That's what we need. And then, gang, you're golfing Pinehurst number 2. I mean, for you golfing freaks out there, you know what that means.
It's one of the best. They've held multiple U.S. Opens there. It's one of the most iconic courses in all of America for a couple of reasons. One, all the greens are basically upside down saucers or cups, so you have to get it on there and hope it stays there because a lot of things roll off.
Whatever.
They don't have any rough either.
Hey guys,
they have
let's
all
not
this
forget
stuff.
This is a leadership retreat. Talk a little bit about the name game.
The name game?
The name game.
We will try and name the people that are in our foursome.
We will name our foursome.
Yes, and we will name our carts.
We will.
My cart's going to be named Gladys.
I'm going to name the beer cart.
Yeah.
The name will be mine.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then we'll name each beer that we have in our system.
Everything will be named.
Yes, we'll name everything.
No worries about that.
And we'll even have a mission statement at some point.
You will learn so much at this that you'll be able to take back to your workplace if you remember anything. Yeah. So we'll golf in Pinehurst too, and the Cradle, which is a 9-hole short course, fun course.
Very, very cool. All par 3s, really good.
There have been 50 hole-in-ones.
And I can say from our group, after this trip, there will be 50 hole-in-ones.
Unless we hit one of the luckiest shots of all time. So again, gang, 4 winners, and you each bring 2 people with you. Tweet to @Golic and Wingo. Hashtag it, Golf with GW Contest, 1 shot. Tweet us, video, picture, whatever you want, whatever you feel will grab our attention to make you a winner June 21st, 22nd, 23rd in Pinehurst with us.
And you will be a part of
Golic and Wingo Leadership Retreat.
Really, it's just a scam to play golf.
Stick in your head.
There you go.
You're going to be so disgusted with that.
You will, and we're going to make sure we drive that point home. A Golic and Wingo presented by Progressive Insurance. Protecting your small business is a big deal. Cover what you've worked so hard for. Visit progressivecommercial.com. And maybe it was the progressive thinking, Mike, of Rockets head coach Mike D'Antoni that led to the Game 2 win after the Game 1 humiliation when they got smoked at home by Golden State by 13 points. But they came back, and they showed a little fire.
Yeah, they did.
And all the good words, gumption. There was some gumption from the Houston Rockets last night. And Mike D'Antoni says it happened because we didn't change a damn thing.
We are who we are, and we had to be who we are. We just did it better, longer. Guys believe it, and we're not going to change anything up. It would be silly on my part to panic. I mean, you don't do that. We're very comfortable about who we are, and we can beat anybody, anywhere, at any time, playing the way we play. Now, some people might not like it. Hey, sorry.
Oh, come on. That was a sorry, I'm not sorry.
That's exactly what he should have been.
That was the Fizdale, how's that for data? Pound it and walk off. That was a sorry, I'm not sorry, and leave.
That is exactly right. But I do love the fact that D'Antoni preached that message to his team and just said, take, for example, Ty Lue after Game 1. He's like, well, we have to look at everything. We might start Tristan Thompson, which they did. They're changing this and all this. The Rockets were like, hell no. You know what they were? They were Stephen A. Smith, basically, saying, oh, hell no. Oh, hell no. We're just going to be who we are.
Yeah, that's exactly right. The difference being is Cleveland changed basically their entire team at the trade deadline.
Correct.
And are still trying to figure out all the pieces. Houston has all the pieces. They know where all the pieces go. It's just how well they're going to play.
Yep.
It's a game in this game. Again, they're a huge numbers team and a huge three-point shooting team.
You know what else they are?
What's that?
They're a huge second spectrum stats team.
They created 12 uncontested threes, I should say, and made 6 of them in this game. Game 1, they only created 5 of those and just made 2.
Yeah.
So, again, they did the same things, but they moved the ball a lot to different people. Harden wasn't the main man, dribble, ISO 26 times like he did in Game 1. They spread it out to other guys on the floor. They were driving more, and we'll get into it. They were driving on Curry an awful lot, and they were hitting open guys, and these guys were knocking down their shots.
And that is exactly what Tim Legler said was the difference in Game 1. It was ball movement.
Ball movement, infinitely better. They get 73 points tonight out of guys named P.J. Tucker, Trevor Ariza, Clint Capella, and Eric Gordon. The confidence level that those guys played with and the aggressiveness offensively was next level. I just thought they took it to Golden State from the jump. They never let up. They were beating them off the dribble repeatedly all night long. Golden State really never recovered. They never hit you with that big run in the second half to make it a 6-8 point game where maybe Houston feels the pressure. Golden State was not able to do it. They cut it to 10, and then before you knew it, it was 20. Game over.
And the way everybody we're talking about this game, it makes it sound just like Harden didn't play.
No, he played fine.
He still took the most shots. He took 24 shots. He took 15 threes in this game. He shot 9 of 24 and 3 from 15. He didn't shoot well, but he still shot. He still led the Rockets in points with 27, while Durant led everybody with 38. There was only one other person, that was Steph Curry, in double digits for Golden State. We'll get to their side of the ball. But yeah, Harden still shot a lot, still took the most, still did his thing, but it just got to more people. More people got involved. And this is what we talk about with Cleveland, when it's not Harden doing it all the time. When you get other people involved, they have to hit their shots. That's the same thing you say in Cleveland, that Korver's got to hit his shots.
Right.
That J.R. Smith has to hit his shots. Kevin Love has to be the man. And that's something they didn't. Well, Love certainly is holding up his end of the bargain. Others aren't hitting their shots. But so Harden was less involved as far as the ISOs. More players were involved, and they came through. So I understand D'Antoni saying, listen, this is us. This is the way we play, and when we play like this, we're hard to beat. Yeah, you sure are.
Yeah.
You got 65 wins. That's exactly right.
Well,
I don't think you're going to win the series.
No.
But I completely understand your thought process of how you're going to play.
I do like the fact that Houston got a little angry. They got a little angry with
Defiant,
themselves.
Yes,
exactly. That's why gumption is the greatest word. Plus, it's in Houston. All Texans have gumption. That's just the way it is. But it's almost the exact opposite of what happened in Game 1, where there was so much balanced scoring for the Warriors. As you said, you only had 2 guys in double digits.
Yeah.
That's so rare. The Rockets had 5. Including, four of their 5 starters,
right.
And Gordon off the bench had 27 to match Harden's 27. So, I mean, that's what we're talking about. It seems like whichever team has the most balanced scoring attack has done well in this series and so far. And Steve Kerr knows exactly what happened last night.
I just think this game was a matter of the Rockets bringing the force that's necessary to win a game, and we didn't. We had 7 turnovers, I think, in the first quarter. We set the tone early with our own play and allowed them to get some confidence and some easy buckets in transition. We let guys get going a little bit, but give them the credit. They came out and played a great game, and they got everybody going, and so they got we got what we deserved. So they kicked our butts, no other way to say it.
I love that. We got what we deserved.
Well, and they did. But I love how he talks about it and D'Antoni talks about it is these are the 2 best teams in the West, maybe the 2 best teams in the NBA.
Correct.
And it's always starts from what did we do?
Right.
Okay, they beat us. They did their thing. But Golden State knows that they play their best game, they're going to win.
Right.
Houston believes that they play their best game, they're going to win. So it's all about what we're going to do. Now, we didn't do what we are supposed to do. They took advantage of it, but it always starts with what we are going to do and should do because we feel we're the best team out there.
Yeah, and look, for fans, let's all hope that this continues to play like this because this is the series we all wanted, right?
That's what we wanted.
We wanted to get to this point. We were a little disappointed after how easily Golden State won Game 1. But if we can get this going, I'll sign up for this series for 7 games right now if we can get this thing going back and forth.
It'd be nice. I don't know if I'm real hopeful, but it'd be nice. Hey everyone, Mike Golic here. Support for the Golic Wingo podcast comes from our friends at Rocket Mortgage by Quicken Loans. Chances are you're confident when it comes to your work, your hobbies, your life. Rocket Mortgage gives you that same level of confidence when it comes to buying a home or refinancing your existing home loan. With Rocket Mortgage, you can apply simply and understand fully so you can mortgage confidently. To get started, go to rocketmortgage.com/Mikes. Equal housing lender, licensed in all 50 states, NMLS consumeraccess.org number 3030.
Decking, railing, lighting, furniture, fencing, framing. At Trex, we make the most in outdoor living because you deserve to get more from your life outdoors. So why not start bringing your ideas to life now with the brand that's engineering what's next? To learn more about all of the outdoor solutions Trex has to offer, or to find a local retailer or a certified Trex Pro deck builder near you, visit Trex.com. That's Trex.com.
Golic and Wingo on ESPN Radio and ESPN2, presented by Progressive Insurance. All phone guests join us on the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line. And it's time for Straight Talk, brought to you by Straight Talk Wireless, best phones, best networks, no contracts. And here's the Straight Talk. 20 years ago today, David Wells, Yankees pitcher, threw a perfect game.
Yes, he did.
Completely hungover.
Unbelievably hungover.
And went to a Saturday Night Live party and then Sunday pitched in the game. Trust me, I used to work the Saturday Night Live parties.
Yeah.
You don't dip your toe into that pool.
No. You're all in.
If you go, you go all in.
He was all in and he was all hurting, but he pitched a perfect game.
So in light of that, on Golic and Wingo, we put it up there. What's the best thing you've ever done hungover?
There you go.
So we want your reactions and tweets to that. In light of David Wells' 20th anniversary of his perfect game, which we'll get into a little bit later.
Yeah, we will.
What's the best thing you were able to accomplish while less than 100%?
Yeah.
Let's put it that way.
Not yourself because you did some things to yourself. Your own fault.
Here we have. So that's our social play right now. So we'll have that throughout the show. Meanwhile, the other straight talk has to be what's going on with Steph Curry.
Holy smokes.
Yeah, listen. As Steph Curry goes, so go the Warriors. I'll give you an example. In the regular season, the Warriors scored 14 more points per 100 possessions while Steph Curry was on the floor, as opposed to when he was on the bench. But in the playoffs, the difference in the Warriors' offense with Curry on or off the floor is less than a point per 100 possessions, 0.7. So the Warriors are, look, even if he's not scoring normally, Steph Curry is the actuator of that offense. Even if Kevin Durant is getting the points like he has been in the first two games, 37 and 38, it goes through Steph Curry and all the things he's able to make people worry about. But that really hasn't been the game. He's 2 of 13 right now in three-point shooting in the first two games.
Well, yeah.
And people are beginning to wonder, including Stephen A. Smith, what's wrong with Steph?
Steph Curry still doesn't look right to me. I'm watching him make plays and put in a decent amount of points, but he doesn't look like Steph Curry. The jump shot is not falling the way it customarily does. It looks like he still has some work to do in terms of getting himself back fully healthy. He doesn't look the same, and as a result, the Warriors don't look the same.
I don't know the answer to this. Obviously, we're not there. Is he, could it come down to the defensive end? Again, from the offensive side, you've mentioned he was 1 for in both games from three-point land. It's the first time that he's made one or fewer threes in consecutive playoff games. That's the first time in his career. But maybe it's because he's getting worked on defense. I mean, they are going after him on defense. He's been the primary defender on 43 different plays in the half court in these games, 14 more than anyone else on the Warriors. He's been involved defensively about twice as many plays per game as he was either the regular season or the last round against New Orleans. So they're going after him hard, and he's coming off some injury, so you wonder if all of that is catching up. Again, we don't know. We're not in the locker room. You have no idea, but we have people watching who know him, know the game, saying he just doesn't look right. You wonder if the effect on offense has anything to do with what's going on defense.
Yeah, to those numbers you just pointed out, the regular season, when he's the primary defender, that was about 11 plays per game. In the conference semis, it was the same, about 11 plays per game. In the conference finals so far, 21.5, and a team high 23 times in game 2. So whether he is or isn't, it's pretty clear the Rockets believe he's the guy they have to attack defensively. And Steph was asked after the game whether or not he's 100% healthy. And let's just say the question about whether or not he was 100% healthy went a lot longer than the answer to that question.
I know you had good games before these last couple off shooting nights, but how are you feeling physically, and especially at the defensive end? I know you're working hard down there. How are you holding up physically?
Feeling great.
Okay.
But seriously, what's he going to say?
Yeah, my knee's really bothering me on a defensive liability, and they should keep attacking me. This is the weekness for the team.
They're really doing a smart thing right now because I'm not 100%. I mean, come on. You know exactly what he's going to say.
Exactly. But Tim Legler, is sort of agreeing with Stephen A. that, hey, something isn't right.
Steph's 90% of his points in his first two games have been layups. He's just not making jump shots, and particularly off the dribble, those deep threes that we've seen 1,000 times, it feels like, the last 4 years. He hasn't hit any through 2 games. Is he hurt? Is he not quite right? I'm not sure. Houston doesn't care.
Yes.
They're going to get into him until he proves he can make those shots.
And by getting into, they mean they're going to push him defensively and see if he can respond offensively.
I mean, just watch how many times he's ISO'd. You see out there the man with the Harden or Paul has the ball, and you see the Curry with the defender on. They're calling for the screen to get Curry on him. So they have to switch. So Curry has to be on whoever has the ball, and then they're going by him. Now, again, and Curry even mentions after the game, we all have to get better defensively. Certainly he does. We have to help more in the paint. And when he's getting dribbled by, yes, you need some people to come over and help in the paint a little more. I get that, but and he's having some tough time. There's no doubt he's having a tough time, and you just wonder the wear and tear. And again, he won't admit it. No player will, and I get that.
Nor should they.
A, you don't want to admit you have the weakness, and B, you're just prideful of saying, okay, they're coming after me, and I need to straighten this thing out. You know what? He knows what's happened. This is one of those games where I don't care how great you are, or how good you are, or how average you are, or whatever. If you're in the position of playing in a professional sport and you watch tape, and I don't know how much they do in playoff series as opposed to regular season, this is one of those games I can tell you as an individual player and watching some of him defensively that you just dread ever watching tape about him, because
right.
You don't have to be told. Nobody has to tell Steph Curry that they're coming after him or he's struggling a bit. He knows. He knows exactly what's happening out there.
And again, if you don't know as a player and you see it on the tape, that's when it's time to retire.
Yeah.
And we're not talking about Steph Curry anywhere close to retirement, so he knows exactly what's going on. And the real difference, look, defensively they're going after him, but the real difference offensively right now is clear in the team three-point shooting. In the regular season, Golden State shot 43% from three with Curry playing and took a 7% drop when he was on the bench. So far in the playoffs, they shoot under 35% with Curry on the floor, and that drops by just 2% when he's on the bench. So it's clear that he's not helping them as much in the three-pointers, and there isn't a drop-off as much. As great as Steph is, and as we said, Legler alluded to it, all these layups, that's wonderful, that's great. But what have we talked about in the Cavs-Celtics series? We need someone to hit perimeter shots for Cleveland, not named LeBron James, so that opens everything up underneath for everybody else. And that hasn't been the case here with Steph Curry. He's got to start hitting some of those trademark threes in order for everybody else not named Kevin Durant, Draymond Green, Andre Iguodala, everybody else to get up and get more attacks at the basket.
Yeah, but the one thing we also say is they have so many superstars that if one isn't playing as well, the others, they have enough to pick it up. Yeah. And you know what? They didn't. Klay Thompson was just 3 of 11 from shooting. So other guys weren't shooting as well. As we mentioned, they had 15 turnovers, and it's something that they do when they get, as I said, again, a little fat and happy when they start feeling good about themselves. Even that's kind of been their MO. They turn the ball over. They get a little more lazy with it and turn the ball over a little more. They'll right the ship. I mean, I get a tweet in here with one of the hashtags, Eat Crow. You had the series over at game 1. Admit it. Admit it? Golden State's going to win the series. What do you want me to admit? They're still going to win. It's just a matter of how many games. I mean, I'm not changing my mind from this one game. The Rockets are a good team, and they put it together last night, along with the Golden State Warriors not playing as well and playing a little sloppy and turning the ball over. I don't see Houston doing this 4 times. So, admit it. Yes,
that's the thing.
I'll admit it. Golden State is still going to win the series.
I'm with you 100%. Look, Houston, you played great, but here's the bottom line. I don't think Golden State's lost a game in the playoffs at home, and they took the one game they needed in Houston.
To
so at
the
end of the day, you're telling me that the Warriors are going to lose 4 out of 5?
Yeah.
And 2 of those are going to be on their home floor? Don't see it happening. By the way, we talked about just only 2 double-digit scores for Golden State. It's only the second time that's happened with the team at full strength. The other one was Game 1 of last year's NBA Finals, which, by the way, was a Warriors romp win over the Cavs.
Yeah.
And that was Straight Talk, brought to you by Straight Talk Wireless, nationwide coverage on America's largest and most dependable 4G LTE networks. Well, coming up, as we said, it's our social play, but it's also one of the most fascinating stories in all of big-time sports, how someone can do one of the rarest things in the history of the world with less than ideal physical circumstances. And it's an amazing story. We'll get into all of that.
Love scoring amazing hotel deals? Then you've got to get the Hotel Tonight app. Forget scrolling through never-ending lists of hotels. Hotel Tonight shows you a select list of incredible deals at hotels you actually want to stay at. And even though the name's Hotel Tonight, you can book up to 100 days in advance in top destinations and up to a week in advance everywhere else. Want to get those deals? Yeah, you do. Download the Hotel Tonight app now.
As soon as this weather breaks,
Flip-Flop Fridays, baby.
Are you kidding me? Thong Thursday?
No, Kate, no.
I mean, absolutely.
No.
Wear the thong.
People are eating.
Oil up. Well, it's Thursday. I have a thong on right now. Sports Center brought to you by Post-it. If you work on a hot or rainy job site, you know how tough it can be to communicate clearly. But new Post-it Extreme Notes are water-resistant and extra sticky. So now you can get your message said and get the job done in any weather condition. New Post-it Extreme Notes. Buy them today.
We continue with you, Golic and Wingo, ESPN Radio and ESPN2. And there are certain things that are just very, 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 very difficult to do. One of them is throwing a perfect game in Major League Baseball. 27 up, 27 down. No walks, no runs, no hits, nothing. And 20 years ago today, on May 17th, 1998, Yankees pitcher David Wells did exactly that. It came 3 days before his 25th birthday, and it was 35th birthday, and it was his 15th perfect game in the history of Major League Baseball. And here's how it sounded on the Yankees radio network with John Sterling.
The 0-1, swung on, he's going to get it, popped up to right field, O'Neill near the line, he makes the catch, David Wells has pitched a perfect game. 27 up, 27 down. Baseball immortality for David Wells. And the Yankees win. The Yankees win.
It was amazing. And in David Wells' autobiography, 2003, Perfect I'm Not, he admitted that he pitched that perfect game with, quote, half drunk, with bloodshot eyes, monster breath, and a raging, skull-rattling hangover, having gone to bed at 5 a.m. the morning of.
The morning of. That's exactly right. There's no night before
and gotten just an hour of sleep.
Yeah.
So if you're wondering to yourself, how does a guy in New York only get an hour of sleep before he has to start?
Yeah.
Well, that's because the night before, he went to the Saturday Night Live post party, baby.
Something you know a whole lot about, again, and people didn't know, Trey starting in this business was a page at NBC, and part of his gig was you ended up at this party at Saturday Night Live after the show.
Yeah, not this one specifically.
No.
That would have been great.
Yeah,
I would have been here at that time. But no,
you know where these parties go.
Yeah, look.
As you said, you don't dip a toe into these.
No, this is not a party that you sort of walk into and say, I'll just drop by. Because the show ends at 1 a.m. on the East Coast, and then everybody hangs around backstage at Studio 8H at 30 Rock for a while, and then they take their makeup off and they kibitz, blah, blah, then they change, they do all this stuff. So they don't really get to the party until sometime after 2 o'clock in the morning. And then the party doesn't really get started until about 2:30 or 3. Mm-hmm. So it becomes quite a thing. And there's a great story on complex.com. It's an oral history. Of
read what you can read.
Yeah.
Because some things you can't.
Like Marcia Klein, the Saturday Night Live producer, asked David Wells, said, hey, why don't you come by the party? And Wells said, no, not this time. I'm pitching tomorrow. And she went on to say, you have to come. Dennis Rodman came once, and the next day was one of his best games of his career, 25 rebounds or something like that. And Wells says, I can't say she called me a blank, but I can't say she didn't.
Yeah.
So I went, and I look around, and there's Jimmy Fallon and Will Forte and Fred Armisen, and one thing led to another. And then Marcia Klein says, he was there all the time. But I remember him being there specifically that night because the next day he threw the perfect game. There are a few guys who came a lot, Tino Martinez, David Cohn, but David was the ringleader. I remember giving David a hand massage. He said, I'm pitching tomorrow. Well, I said, let me massage your hand. So Wells says, I think I got home at 5:30, probably got 2.5 to an hour's sleep. I knew this was not good, so I just tried to stay away from everybody. Was worried that someone might get high off the fumes.
Oh, my God.
I had consumed a lot of alcohol. I was a dummy, but I just got caught up in the moment. You can thank Marcia Klein for that. I had a job to do, so I went out there and I did it. I was the one who put myself in that predicament. Before the game, my bullpen was horrific. Just threw 2 balls out of the stadium because I was so frustrated. I could not throw a curveball and got to the point where I just quit throwing. I said, that's it. And from that, he threw a perfect game.
That's amazing. I love his commitment. Yeah. No, I have to pitch tomorrow. Oh, come on. All right, I'll come.
He stood strong in the test of adversity.
Oh, my gosh. That is amazing. By the way, that day at the stadium, full of 49,820 people, tons of kids. It was a Beanie Baby promotion.
Oh.
I have a ton of Beanie Babies. I'd like to know what they're worth, by the way.
Yeah.
A Beanie Baby promotion on that day as he is doing nothing but sweating alcohol out of his body.
Yeah.
The amount of alcohol sweat had to be unbelievable. But
you're flushing the system.
I wonder if there was, during that night as he was partying, were there thoughts of, man, I need to leave. Yeah. Man, I got to pitch tomorrow. And at what point that just left his mind completely?
Well, there's always that one moment in every time we've all been down there when you say, I'll just have one more.
Oh, yeah.
And the worst line you can ever say to yourself is, I'll just have one more. Because I'll just have this one last one, and then I'll go. And it's that one last one that makes you forget everything else you said the night before or the moments before where I'll just have one more. So unbelievable. 20 years ago today, David Wells completely, not really still hungover and hammered at the same time, threw a perfect game in Major League Baseball. Coming up, are the Rockets back in it? Plus a great entry point for a new head coach. That's it. Celebrate David Wells Day. We're back.
Next, you're holding up the line, ma'am.
What did you say?
You're next in line for the water slide, ma'am. Feet forward and enjoy the ride.
Okay, dearie. This does look fun. Whee! You melted me. I've melted.
The Wicked Witch of the West on a water slide? Surprising. What's not surprising? How much you could save by switching to Geico.
See what you've done. Oh!
Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more.
Great news! There's a quick way you can save money. Switch to Geico. Geico could help you get great coverage at a great price. And it only takes 15 minutes to see if you could save 15% or more on car insurance. Go to geico.com today and see how much you could save.
Golic and Wingo with you on ESPN Radio and ESPN News, presented by Progressive Insurance. Our phone guest will join us on the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line. Mike, it's going to be a huge weekend in sports.
Yes, it is.
We got Game 3 of both the Eastern Conference and Western Conference Finals over the weekend.
Whatever.
But there's something even bigger than that happening.
It's a royal wedding, man.
Yes, it is.
The royal wedding is Saturday morning. Now, it's early, by the way, so maybe it's a good time for another one of those breakfast meetings Budenholzer had, which I don't think there's enough breakfast meetings, by the way.
Yeah, we need
to me,
more
breakfast is the best meal of the day. But yeah, the royal wedding is Saturday morning. Yeah. I guarantee you're going to hear something from our own town crier and or Jerry.
Jared Bear will be.
Without a doubt. But the big news: who's walking Meghan Markle down the aisle?
Yeah, her dad's not going to be there.
Dad not going to be there. Has had to have some heart surgery, has some health issues. He is not going to be there. So who is going to do it? That's the big story out there right now. Who walks her down the aisle? Again, Thomas Markle has a health issue, so he won't be there. The thought is maybe her mom, who they've been divorced, Meghan's parents since like she was 6.
Right.
But her mom's going to be there and has some responsibilities. Will she do it? Who's going to do it? Who's going to? There's a lot of important questions about this royal wedding.
Yes.
I mean, we have some.
There's some side bets. There's a whole betting sheet. We can get into that.
We're
going
to do that tomorrow. There's a whole betting sheet on dress colors, cars driven, all kind of wonderful things that we can make money on. Yeah. Now that gambling is legal.
Well, not yet, but it's close. But it's legal over there.
Yeah, it's exactly right.
That's been legal over there for a long time. So again, we'll get into all that tomorrow. Yes. It's going to be a very big Friday. Golic and Wingo, by the way, presented by Body Armor. It's time to ditch your outdated sports drink and switch to Body Armor sports drink with natural flavors and sweeteners and no colors from artificial sources. Body Armor is the more natural, better sports drink. And we start this hour, as we always do, with What's Trending. And that's the Rockets beating the Warriors 127-105, handling Golden State, or giving Golden State its 4th worst playoff loss under head coach Steve Kerr.
So they did it basically the same way they played in Game 1, of which they lost by double digits, the ISO game, but it was spread out a lot more. Harden did it a lot less. Others did it more. They found open guys, and guys knocked down shots. It's at this point, there's going to be nothing new to these stories. Golden State's going to play their way. Houston's going to play their way. And I do compare Houston, even though Houston had 65 wins this year, a lot of it went on how James Harden, who was one of the finalists for the MVP, went, and how the teammates help out, much like in Cleveland with LeBron James, who, again, is an MVP finalist, but how the others help out. And when they don't help out, there's way more question mark there and tinkering with the lineup in Cleveland, obviously, than there is in Houston. The other guys stepped up in Houston. That's really the bottom line of it all. I mean, to have Trevor Ariza put in 19, P.J. Tucker put in 22, Eric Gordon was 6 of 9, 8 of 15 overall, 6 of 9 from three-point line, 27, tied Harden for a team high, and he did it coming off the bench. The guys took advantage of their opportunities, and Golden State had a lot of turnovers on the other end, 7 in the first quarter, I believe, 11 in the first half, only 4 in the second half. But, that first half got away from them. They were down by 14 and never really recovered.
And again, almost the exact opposite of what happened in Game 1. 5 Golden State Warriors in double digits in Game 1, only 2 in Game 2. In fact, that is very rare. It's only the second time that's happened with the team at full strength in the postseason. The other time was Game 1 of the NBA's finals last year, which was a Warriors win. But again, 5 guys in double figures for the Rockets. And James Harden was asked specifically if they're focusing on playing the Warriors or playing their game.
We focus on what we're supposed to do. We're really worried about who we're playing against. Like, if we come out and be some dogs and do what we did tonight, it doesn't matter. But if we don't, then we see the results in Game 1. So it's not about chess match or what they're doing. It's about us.
Yeah, I don't believe him for a second there, and I'll tell you why. Because their GM, Daryl Morey, has said their stated goal is we are obsessed with finding ways to beat the Rockets. And maybe this is what you say to yourself to make sure it's about you and not about anybody else, but come on, man. Everybody knows that they're trying to think about the Warriors.
This is like the football equivalent of every year you get ready in the AFC to play your game, right? Understanding you're gonna do the best that the top teams we're talking about now, the Pittsburghs, Jacksonville, the way they've ended. We're gonna play our way, but that if we're going to get to where we want to go, we're probably going to have to go through or beat New England.
Yep.
So while Houston, they have a way they're going to play, and this is what they're going to do, and it's worked well for them. They know in the back of their minds or the front of their minds or the side of their minds or wherever you want to say it, that they're going to have to eventually go through Golden State to get where they want to go.
And again, they worked so hard to get home court in this series, and it was taken away in Game 1. Mike D'Antoni was asked if they changed their style from a 13-point loss in Game 1 to a 22-point win in Game 2.
Oh, yeah. I mean, we went from the wide-open California offense to the triple threat. I mean, we changed everything up. No, we did exactly what we did. We played harder. We got into them, and they felt us physically. And we didn't quite have that same intensity in the first game. Our guys are great, and they learned from it, snapped back, and and did the job.
In case you didn't know, if that was a Twitter comment, it would have been in sarcasm font.
He went with sarcasm.
Yeah.
Do we not have a sarcasm emoji yet?
We need one.
We need a sarcasm emoji.
Yeah,
without a doubt. Because you're right.
We have the eye roll face.
Yeah,
with a little face.
We have every emoji out there, but we don't have a sarcasm emoji.
We need
one
with really solid sarcasm.
I'm with you.
Because that
got to do it. Because that's what that was.
Dripping. Actually, how could we put a sarcasm emoji? What would it be?
I don't know. We got to think of that. It's not out there, so nobody else has thought of it either.
There's the eye roll, which is sort of like please, but we need something that would be drenched in. Wait, I think I see somebody reaching for a microphone. Brett, do you have an eye? He doesn't? Okay, he's working on it. We'll get researcher Brett working on it.
Nobody's had one yet.
Work on that sarcasm.
Nobody's had one yet, so it's out there.
The eye roll is like, oh, come on.
Yeah.
But we really need
sarcasm.
Heavy in sarcasm emoji. So, hey, send that in to Golic and Wingo, too. What would the sarcasm emoji look like? No sarcasm here. Mike Budenholzer has agreed to become the Bucs head coach, according to ESPN. The Bucs negotiated a 4-year deal with Budenholzer's reps on Wednesday, hours after the ex-Hawks coach flew in for a breakfast meeting. As you alluded to.
Love the breakfast
meeting's the best kind.
With Antetokounmpo and Middleton, I love that. The breakfast meeting. So it's amazing to me. Time flies. Been in Atlanta 5 seasons.
That didn't seem like that was possible.
Really didn't. 17 playoff wins, 4 appearances while with the Hawks, and so now he picks up a Milwaukee team who we have said, boy, it's a talented team to take over with the 2 guys we just mentioned, Antetokounmpo and Middleton.
Jabari Parker.
He's a restricted free agent this year. They have 1 pick this year in the draft at 17th overall. Certainly have a guy to build around in Antetokounmpo, but what else? They obviously need more pieces as well to compete, so we'll see where they go, but a nice job to get, no doubt about it. Good coach, just a well-respected coach.
Absolutely. It is interesting, though. We've said this for the last few years. Well, the East is nothing and the West is so talented. Let's take a look around the East right now. This Boston Celtics team isn't going
changing.
anywhere.
That's changing with Boston and Philly.
Philly is on the rise, and then you have if Antetokounmpo ever figures out how good he really is with the pieces around him, that could be a very interesting situation as well. So we could be looking at this in a few years. The idea that no, it's not the West anymore. Either the East is just as deep, or may starting to be getting a little deeper, especially if we see the likes of San Antonio, what happens with them and Kawhi Leonard. If they do indeed part ways this offseason, it could be very interesting. But the East is not going to be the layup that it's been for the last 3 years. I don't know where to go there. So I'm just going to throw this out there, and I can't wait for your reaction, okay?
Yeah.
A new study released Tuesday from researchers at North Carolina State University say that chimpanzees keep cleaner beds than humans because, unlike their evolutionary relatives, they make their own bed daily.
So chimpanzees make their own bed daily?
Yes.
I mean, I was told as a kid to make my bed every day.
Yeah, because they make a new bed every day, apparently.
A great number of bacteria would be present. This is what hypothesized. A great number of bacteria would be present in chimp nests compared to human mattresses and sheets because of the outdoor environment. But that wasn't the case.
Yeah, that was the hypothesis. They thought that would be the case.
It wasn't the case. Researchers swabbed 41 chimpanzee nests in Tanzania and found almost none of the microbes found in human beds, such as fecal microbes.
Enjoy your breakfast.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I got to say, I did not see that coming.
I didn't see chimpanzee beds cleaner than human beds. Didn't see that coming.
I got to tell you something. When we lived in St. Louis for 6 years, St. Louis has one of the greatest zoos in the world. It's fantastic.
You ever see a chimpanzee make his own bed?
No, but I've seen chimpanzee make all kinds of things at the Ape House in St. Louis.
Yeah.
And, St. Louis can get a little hot and muggy in the summer.
Didn't look clean, did it?
Didn't smell clean either.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'll be honest with you. You walk through the Ape House in July in St. Louis, big outdoor. I mean, it's a combination of odors that are horrific.
It turns out now we'd rather lay down in their bed than our own bed.
Not from the smells I was getting from the Ape House at the St. Louis.
Hey,
this
is science, okay?
Yes, but I have a nose, and it's a big one, and it works.
They swabbed a chimpanzee nest.
I'm gonna look. I believe in science.
Mm-hmm.
I believe that they know what they're talking about.
That's a tough one to buy, though. I'm with you.
I mean, the stench walking through there in the summer. You want to brush your teeth.
Yeah.
I mean, it's that bad. It hangs on you, man. You need to, you need the full, you want to gargle something.
Okay.
It is rough.
Okay.
It is rough. So I believe them. I'm just saying in my limited experience in certain situations, my olfactory sense maybe says that isn't the case.
I guess we have to believe it by the microbes, not by the actual
stench.
Yeah.
And there you go. Hey, enjoy that Canadian bacon this morning, folks. Okay, Golic and Wingo presented by Progressive's Home Insurance. Getting a quote is easier than ever. Meanwhile, we'll have some loaded questions coming up in about 15 minutes.
Yes,
I'm excited about this because I'm told by Stanzik, our fine producer, that they're sports-related but not really sports-related. Dan, is that what you're saying? There's sort of a cross-pollination here?
They're mainly sports-related.
Mainly sports-related. Okay, but last week we had a couple things that weren't, right? So
there's a few that are not specifically sports-related.
Okay, they got a couple of curves they're going to throw our way.
All right, I like that.
So we'll see what happens. That's coming up in about 15 minutes or so. Stu Gotts will join us at the top of the next hour. We'll get into our golf retreat with him. We'll also have Mark Spears of The Undefeated coming up a little bit later in the final hour of the show here on Golic and Wingo. But there is another layer to another disturbing story, one of the most disturbing stories perhaps in the history of sports in this country, and it comes with a very, very heavy price. Michigan State University says it will pay $500 million to the survivors of the Larry Nassar sexual abuse case in what is believed to be the largest settlement ever in a sexual misconduct case involving a university. Now, Larry Nassar's office for many years, even though he was working with USA Gymnastics and the Olympic team, was based out of Michigan State. Attorneys representing 332 claimed victims.
Yeah.
332, Mike. Reached an agreement with representatives from Michigan State during a mediation session Tuesday. The university's board of trustees agreed to the deal in principle. The settlement did not include provisions about policy or acknowledge the claims made against Michigan State.
I mean, this is, well, one thing I'll say, while we're getting an end result here, this better not be the end.
No, and some of the subtle, the parameters of this deal are set up for that.
Right. Of the $500 million, $425 million will be distributed to claimants who are currently part of the lawsuit.
Right.
$75 million is going to be held in reserve for 2 years in the event that others come forward and make claims about Nassar's abuse. Again, this is Michigan State.
Right.
And one of the attorneys said, we're not done. This is an agreement that I think is in the best interest of all parties, but we're also going to continue dialogue with USAG and the USOC, who we believe they were enablers and complicit in allowing this to happen. That's where this thing continues to go. Let's also remember that while there were enablers and there were people that were complicit and just flat out didn't know what was going on and just out of sheer, we don't know what's happening here, which is no excuse either.
Correct.
This is most of it on Larry Nassar, the guy that's in prison for
the rest of his life,
175 years. And in all honesty, I hope he's having one of the most miserable experiences of his life every single solitary day until he dies.
Pretty sure that's happening.
So, along those lines now, but this doesn't happen over and over and over like it did with so many people if there isn't others that were liable, culpable.
And this is just one part of this settlement.
So here's the other thing you don't want to happen is as these people get paid, you don't want okay, here's your payment, where's my receipt, this is over.
Right.
This is what we don't want. I mean, this has to stay alive. This has to keep probing. Why did this happen? How did this happen? What can we do in the future so this doesn't happen anymore? When do you start believing kids when they say something?
And that was a big problem here because a lot of the kids told their parents or teachers, and your parents don't want to believe that. They want to believe that the people that their kids are
you're entrusting your kids to, yeah,
exactly. And look, so this is just 1/3 of maybe 1/4 of the tentacles of lawsuits here because you mentioned there's the USAG, there's all these other things.
USOC,
they will go after. But again, just in this part alone, the fact that the remaining $75 million of this $500 million settlement will be held in reserve for 2 years in the event that others come forward and make claims about Nassar's abuse simply during his time at Michigan State. And on Outside the Lines, our investigative reporter, John Barr, was asked by Bob Lee about what this $500 million means and where it's coming from.
Do we have an understanding whether these funds are covered by insurance for Michigan State? Are they self-insured? Is it coming from endowment?
Yeah, the details of that did not come out today, but it's my understanding just from reporting on this that it will be a combination of things. Insurance, they may have to float some sort of bond issue to cover this massive settlement. It's a significant amount of money, $425 million up front, and then $75 million that will be withheld for 2 years for any future claims. So they're setting aside that period for any other women who want to come forward. So yes, that's how you get to the $500 million number.
And that just scrambles the mind when you think about this settlement is for 332, and they're holding another $75 million in case many more.
Yeah, I mean, the last issue we had like this involving what we do in sports, you look at Penn State, and that settlement, was for $100 million plus paid by Penn State to at least 35 people who were again accused. Assistant football coach Jerry Sandusky of sexual abuse. So this went to $500 million. And over 300 claimants right now. We'll
Those
see.
Numbers they're just staggering.
Yeah, we'll see if there's going to be more. But some of the 15 to 20 other women who were at the settlement talk said they're not done fighting. The next step is to focus on changing laws that will make it easier to hold institutions and others accountable for sexual abuse. Michigan State is saying hopefully this obviously never happens again,
right?
But we believe Michigan State is going to be an example of what to do in the event that things like this happen. Hopefully it helps us stop it from ever occurring again. So I guess that's the point. What happens going forward? You don't want a lot of garbage talk going on. Right. Well, this isn't going to happen again. Okay, why? What parameters are put in place? Okay, you're taking care of these people, these young women whose lives may never be the same again because of this disgusting human being in Nassar.
Monster.
And others either turning a blind eye, not believing kids, enabling whatever they did. So what are you doing? That's what I don't want to hear a lot of talk about. We want to be in the forefront. Do you? Okay, what are you doing? What's going on? What parameters are in place? But a lot of it does come down to just actual believing in what people are saying. The lawsuit claimed that several women raised concerns about Nassar by talking to other Michigan State employees as early as 1997. And the employees didn't properly report the claims. I mean, I guess that's the other side of this that you can say is you can put whatever things in place that you want.
If they're not followed, it doesn't matter.
You make the report to the right people, but if they don't do then the right thing, then what happens? I mean, that's the problem with all of this.
And it sort of led to a Pandora's box about looking at other things that went on in Michigan State. We saw some issues that were discovered with some football players and some basketball players. And Michigan State said the school has started to make changes to its Title IX policy and add resources it provides for more who say they were sexually abused on campus. A recent report conducted by a law firm from Michigan State said members of the campus community who were surveyed last year overwhelmingly concluded that there is room for significant improvement in how the university handles Title IX cases and educates its community members about sexual assault and relationships going forward.
So that again, is what it's going to come down to. So even as I sit here and talk louder than I normally do about, okay, what are you going to do? What are you going to put in place? So I guess I even can talk against myself and say, okay, whatever you have in place now has to be followed by human beings.
Yes.
And when all of a sudden, when human beings are put in a position to CYA or take a step out to help somebody else, a lot of times, what are they going to do? They're going to cover their own butt.
Yep.
So that's what it ends up coming down to. So you can put all the things you want in place, and you hope they do. But a lot of it comes down to human beings saying, you know what? They reported this. That was wrong. We need to follow this all the way through to find out what's going on. Yep. And I don't know what to tell parents who didn't believe their kids, and how
look. I'm sure a lot of them are dealing with their own personal hell. They have to deal with that.
Right, has to be just absolute personal hell for them. It's exactly right. But the end of it all, we need those parameters in place, but then the human beings do actually have to do something when these reports come in and follow through.
We can put as many things in place, but look, we can say hopefully we'll never have a case. Well, hopefully we will never have a case like this because the numbers are just staggering.
Yeah.
But look, you can do everything you can to do everything you want to do to try and protect the kids. But as you said, human beings are human beings sometimes, and that's just going to get it. It's You just hope you never see anything like this again. By the way, the statement here from the university, from Brian Breslin, the chairman of Michigan State's governing board, says, "We are truly sorry to all the survivors and their families for what they've been through, and we admire the courage it has taken to tell their stories. We recognize the need for change on our campus and in our community, and we will continue to do so."
Hey everyone, Mike Golic here. Support for the Golic Wingo podcast comes from our friends at Rocket Mortgage by Quicken Loans. Chances are you're confident when it comes to your work, your hobbies, your life. Rocket Mortgage gives you that same level of confidence when it comes to buying a home or refinancing your existing home loan. With Rocket Mortgage, you can apply simply and understand fully so you can mortgage confidently. To get started, go to rocketmortgage.com/Mikes. Equal housing lender, licensed in all 50 states, NMLS consumeraccess.org number 3030.
At Trex, we know there's a place for wood in your backyard. We recommend the fire pit. But when it comes down to choosing the right material for your next deck, look no further than the superior beauty and durability of the world's #1 premium decking brand. Trex delivers the look of wood without all of the work and the worry, and it's made from 95% recycled materials, which makes it the right choice for your backyard 100% of the time. To learn how to make Trex your next deck, visit Trex.com to order samples.
Golic and Wingo on ESPN Radio and ESPN News, presented by Progressive Insurance. All phone guests join us on the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line. So, little behind the curtains thing here. In every commercial break, I get up and walk around.
Yes, you do.
Keep energy going, keep my legs going. The reason I did that is because the first month I did this show, I think I put on 10 pounds.
Really?
10 pounds. Because I'd sit on my large butt.
Yes, you do.
For 4 hours.
Yep.
Then I would go upstairs, take a nap in my office, then go do NFL Live for an hour and a half, and go home like just
so there's a lot of sitting.
But I was exhausted.
Sedentary.
And then when we got to Hawaii, I tried to put on some shorts and like, nope, that's not happening.
No.
So I've now made this thing where I try and walk in between every commercial break. And now Brett and Dan Stanzik, the producers, start walking with me.
Really?
So we go walk around the halls just to keep the energy flowing, getting going. And I looked at them and I said, you know what we've become?
Yeah.
We're mall walkers. we have become mall walkers. That's what we're doing.
Can I let you on a little secret?
Yeah.
They're not walking with you because they want to walk with you.
Oh, I know.
You know why they're walking with you?
No, I don't know.
Because occasionally you come back after a segment has started.
Yeah, that's true.
They want to make sure you get
fair.
back here in time.
That's 100% fair. I totally get that.
Yeah, exactly.
But anyway, we are mall walking.
Yes,
just
you
so
are.
You know, I'm preparing. The next thing I'm searching for the perfect frozen yogurt. That's the next step in this evolutionary process.
Yeah.
Is what's going on. Okay, let's do some loaded questions.
Let's.
You ready? Loaded questions brought to you by GNC. Ignite what's inside you at GNC. Buy 2, get 1 free for a limited time. GNC. Live well, and we live well with our pseudo mall walking. Oh, by the way, guess who's going to be the voice of Loaded Questions?
Who?
That would be researcher Brett.
Stunner.
Because he hasn't been on the show yet today. It's been over 90 minutes, and he feels the need to weigh in. So, researcher Brett, the stage is yours.
All right. Who wins more games, the Browns this season or the Cavs the rest of the postseason?
Okay, so there's the potential for the Cavs to win 8 more games in the postseason.
Yeah, but
there's the potential.
I personally don't think they're getting out of this round now, being down 2-0 and the way they're playing, and more importantly, I'd say the way Boston is playing.
So, how many games do you think the Cavs are going to win in this postseason?
Well, I guess my point is, if I don't think they're going to get out of this series, the most they can win is 3 games.
Right. I'm going to go with 3.
Which means
go with
the
3.
Browns would have to win more than 3 games, which I think they can do.
Yeah. So you're going to say the Browns.
I think I'm going to say the Browns.
Yeah, I'm not sure I disagree with you.
And I don't even that's provided the Cavs still win 3 games.
Yes.
They may only win 1, may win none, may win 2.
I feel pretty strongly like Cleveland will find a way to scrap and hold home court. I believe that. I think they will.
So you think it's going to be a 2-2 series going back to Boston?
I think it just might.
Wow.
I think it just might. Because we have Jackie McMullen on yesterday, and she said the Celtics are a completely different team on the road, did the same thing against the Bucks in round 1.
That's very true, and maybe I'm giving up. And I shouldn't be because it's my hometown team.
Damn it, Mike, stick by your team.
I know, but just watching, man, I mean, it just does not look good for Cleveland.
It doesn't. But I think that somehow, some way, they'll make this to a game 6.
I'm going to the Browns, though.
You're going
overall,
to the Browns? I think I'm going to the Browns, too, because I've said all along I think that they're going to win games this year. Again, they've won 1 over the last 2 years. But I'm going to go 4 or 5 wins for the Browns this year.
All right.
Which would be
incredible.
It would be fantastic.
Yeah.
All right, next loaded question, Brett.
True or false, Brad Stevens is getting too much credit for the Celtics' success.
Well, don't ask Robert Parrish that one.
Yeah, Big Chief has no interest in that.
Yeah, he wonders if Brad's getting a little too much love. Said how many championships has he won? I'm going to say false to that. I mean, he's getting a lot of love, but I'll still say it's the players on the court that are doing the work, obviously, and they're the ones that deserve more than the coach. The coach could put you in the right spot, certainly, and call great plays, especially those out-of-bounds plays that he's been calling. So I think he's not getting too much credit. I think he deserves the credit that he's getting. I don't think anybody's saying, you know what, it's Kyrie Irving or Brad Stevens. Let's get rid of the players over the coach. Just yet. But I do think he's an excellent coach, so I'll say false to that.
Yeah, I don't understand why people are upset with the credit he's getting.
I think they don't like the genius word that's going around.
Yeah, but it was one of his own players that did it. It wasn't somebody in the media. I believe it was Al Horford, who's been in this league a long time and said he's a genius, and not one person in the Celtics locker room said, that's ridiculous. I think they're all buying into it. And if they're all buying into it, That alone means he's doing a great job. Sorry, Chief, you had a great series. I love you, Robert Parrish. You always looked like you were smelling something bad when you played. But I just feel like he's getting the proper amount of credit. I think he's doing a great job, so I think that's completely false.
All right, next question.
Let's do it.
Finish this sentence. Trading Kyrie Irving to the Spurs for Kawhi Leonard would be...
stupid.
Yeah.
I mean, are you serious? And this is all based on Terry Rozier coming in and playing incredibly well? Okay. I mean, didn't we see that with Isaiah Thomas last year in Boston? I know he had the bad hip, and I want to put that on Rozier to say it's not going to be. Rozier is playing very well right now, okay? He's playing very well. He's gone from averaging 1 point 2 years ago to 5 points last year to 11 points this year, and I know he's hitting some big shots, and he's playing well. You're going to trade away Kyrie. Now, I know you're going to have to pay Kyrie, and obviously he's not playing now because of the injury, but come on.
Well, let me give you a little background information.
Go ahead.
That is a hot take from somebody on the staff, and that's how it made it into Loaded Questions.
Oh, okay.
Do you know whose hot take it was?
No.
Want to take a guess?
I don't care.
Bubble Boy.
Oh, really?
Bubble Boy. The guy who didn't know what position his favorite player in the White Sox farm system, Eloy Jimenez, played.
Yeah.
That was his hot take. Stop this now.
Yeah.
This is insane. Okay? I love Terry Rozier, and he's playing great. But can you imagine how much better the Celtics would be with Terry Rozier and Kyrie Irving and Gordon Hayward? You don't need Kawhi Leonard for this team to be as good as it's going to be. Again, they're probably going to the finals without their two best players.
Exactly.
I don't think you need to reshuffle the deck and bring in Kawhi Leonard as good as he is. They have plenty of players. And once they get Hayward,
those young wing guys, I mean, gosh.
They're going to be fine. And new rule on Loaded Questions, Devin does not get to submit a loaded question.
Good point.
That's just the way we go. All right, next one.
That's NBA insider Bubble Boy to you.
Okay.
On a scale of 1 to 10, how much will the 8th pick in the NBA draft influence LeBron's decision this summer? For the record, our draft analyst, Jonathan Cavoni, has the Cavs taking Michael Porter Jr. from Missouri.
On a scale of 1 to 10, it would be 0.
Yeah.
Would be absolutely positively none, nothing, nada, zippo of what that pick will mean to LeBron's decision. I don't even know I need to go any more than that. Yeah. Nothing.
That's 1 to 10. You can't pick 0.
0. I picked 0.
So people
laugh at your 1 to 10 scale.
People get on me
0.
for breaking the rules in Love It or Shove It, and you just blatantly threw out the rules. Give it a 1 to 10.
1.
There you go. Thank you very much.
1.
Although I'm with you, I think it's completely 0. I just want someone else to be mad for breaking the rules. Here's why I don't think it matters. Because if they had gotten a top 3 pick, I think it might have mattered. Okay, who can we bring in here?
Right.
But the fact they're picking 8th, I don't think they're going to get a difference maker because LeBron is looking around. I mean, again, let's just go back to what happened in Game 2. And you can fault him in the second half for settling for jumpers and maybe not hustling back on defense all the time. That's fine. But nobody else played 82 games in the regular season and plays more minutes than anybody else. He had a 40-point triple-double, the third of his playoff career, the most ever in NBA history, and they still got smoked.
The only people that LeBron is looking at, it's not rookies. It's going to be veterans that they can sign who he thinks can help or that they can trade for who can help immediately. He doesn't care about the rookies.
Correct. I agree. I think he knows this team as it's presently constructed. He has to decide, do I want to stay and play in Cleveland and try and win him another championship and hope it gets better? Or in my 16th year, do I need to go somewhere where I can try and win that 4th championship? I think we all feel pretty strongly that option B is the way he's going to be
leading. Hope it doesn't happen, but boy, oh boy, it'd be tough to think.
But as a Cleveland fan, the fact that he came back and brought you to 3 finals and won a championship, you can't fault him, right?
No, absolutely
You can't fault him.
No, you cannot.
I mean, at this point, look,
agreed.
You saw how much different the Warriors are and how dominant they've been as soon as they got that one other superstar, Kevin Durant. Now put LeBron in that situation. You have to feel like, hey, thank you, appreciate it. You did what you said you were coming to do. You did it, but God bless you, and we'll see what happens going forward.
Everyone in the neighborhood knew about Bobby. Bobby, the basketball boy, they called him. Bobby wanted to go pro someday, so he was always out in the driveway shooting hoops. But one day, his mom came out and told him,
"Hey, your wife wants you to take out the trash?"
His mom was visiting, and Bobby was a grown man. He had kind of missed his window. Plus, no one had ever seen him actually make a basket. But on the other hand, Bobby had heard how Geico could save him money on car insurance, so he switched and saved. So it was all good.
Or if you're Boston, would you trade Kyrie for Kawhi? I throw that out because if you're San Antonio and you want to lose your star player, wouldn't it behoove you to get a star in return? If you're Boston and Rozier's balling the way that he's balling and being paired well with a Marcus Smart and a Jaylen Brown, with Tatum in the lineup, with Gordon Hayward in the lineup next year, with an Al Horford in the lineup. What if you added Kawhi Leonard to the mix?
No way.
No.
Nope. Still don't buy it.
No, I'm not buying that at all.
Nope.
Because you know what you're doing next year? You're adding Kyrie Irving and Gordon Hayward.
Yeah.
You're adding star players.
Rozier is playing well, but I'm not ready to anoint him as the new guy with the ball in his hand all the time for the Celtics.
As Bill Parcells once said about Tony Romo, let's hold off on the anointing oil. Okay? It's going to take a while. Terry Rozier's played great.
Yeah.
Personally invested in Terry Rozier. He's best friends with my son's roommate in college. They played football and basketball together. I'm all in on Terry Rozier.
I am as well. And again, I hate to mention the name because an injury had a lot to do with it. Isaiah Thomas last year.
Yeah.
He was Mr. Boston, right?
Correct.
Got rid of him.
Yep.
I know the hip injury cost him, but a couple teams later, what's going on? So I'm not saying Rozier's going down that road.
Yeah.
Rozier doesn't have an injury, but my point is, yes, let's not anoint too quickly that this now is the true point guard of our team.
And we need to be clear about something. We're not hating on Terry
No,
Rozier.
no.
We're not going full Eric Bledsoe.
I don't even know what that is.
We're not saying that.
No, we're loving on
not
Kyrie
that at
Irving.
all. We're loving on Kyrie Irving, Gordon Hayward. And imagine the rotation and how that would work out.
That Sports Center is brought to you by Discover Card. Become a new card member, and Discover Card is going to match all the cash back you've earned dollar for dollar at the end of your first year. Learn more at discover.com/match. Limitations do apply.
And now the three most famous words in the history of Golic and Wingo. Back to Brett.
What's up, guys?
More loaded questions. What do we got?
True or false, leagues like the NFL and NBA will get a cut of the money spent on legalized sports gambling.
I'm going to say that's true. I'm going to say it's true because the leagues are going to make it so difficult with lawsuits. They'll finally just say, fine, we'll give them something because we're going to make so much money on this anyway. We'll give them a little something. I don't think it's going to be much. I don't think you're getting 1%. Like NBA Commissioner Adam Silver wants, but I think they'll get a little taste.
I think they're going to find a way, which is amazing because, again, it's legal in Nevada, and Nevada hasn't given up a cent to these pro teams. But if it starts going state by state and different states maybe want to work deals, maybe with the team that's in their particular state, it's possible they may do it for the work-related, working together type of a situation. I do think they are going to get something, though. I'm not sure what their leverage is going to be unless I do think one of the big leverage points could be
information and stats.
Injury.
Yes.
Injury could be one of the big ones. Now, again, if all of a sudden they're withholding injury, but somebody has an inside source and they're getting that information, well, that could make it really interesting. But to answer the question, I think we both believe that they'll end up getting some money.
They'll get a taste. I don't know how much, but they'll get a taste.
If anything, Jerry Jones is going to get his hand in there.
Well, listen, that's a given.
If you had to adopt one city's teams to root for over the next 5 years, which city would it be?
So all in on all the teams. Baseball, football, basketball.
Correct.
5 years. Now, listen, recent history would suggest you're an idiot if you don't do Boston. Because...
Well, I'm not going Boston because... Go ahead.
Yeah, well, we're on the tail end of the Brady thing. But, I mean, you could get 2 more years out of him. They'll be in an AFC championship game probably every year. The Celtics are good and young. The Red Sox are in it every other year. So I think, this from 2001 to 2017, no city has dominated sports like the city of Boston. But are we catching them at the time when you should be selling them?
Well, I'm just not going with them because I don't want another parade where kids hold up a sign, I've been to 15 of these or whatever. So I'm going to go somewhere different.
So where would you go?
Probably going 76ers.
Yeah. No, it's a city. It's an entire city. So you go Philadelphia.
Go
Philadelphia.
Yeah, that's
the Phillies are what? Are they 8 games over 500 for the first time in a long time?
The Phillies are doing great.
Yeah. Plus, it's a town. Listen, they just got the Super Bowl. I get it, but it's not like they've been having championship after championship in that city.
No, they have not.
It's a young team. I like Embiid. I think he is fun in this day and age of players and social media and getting it. Some people maybe think they talk a little bit too much, but they have a lot of young, great talent there for a team that hasn't had a lot of championships. That's why I'm steering away from Boston. They've had their share, and I'll go with Philadelphia.
I think I'm going to go with Philadelphia, too, because let's add Villanova into the mix. As long as Jay Wright stays there, no matter what Cliff wants him to do.
Yeah.
Cliff, for crying out loud!
Cliff wants to fire Brett Brown and put in Jay Wright with the Sixers. I don't think Jay Wright's leaving, and I think Jay Wright has put up what they call it, catitude.
Yeah.
So, I mean, when you add in some college sports there, I think I'm going to go with Philadelphia as well.
There you go. Another big win for Philly.
There you go.
Would you rather be invited to the royal wedding or be invited to play on Family Feud?
See, this is going to be easy for us. We're going to want to go on Family Feud. This is more a question for my wife, for people who are really into it. My wife and my daughter will be getting up.
Yeah, but we're not asking them the question. We're asking you.
Well, it's too easy. We're both going to choose Family Feud. Neither one of us. Yeah,
Are we?
I guarantee you're choosing Family Feud. I'm going to choose Family Feud as well.
Am I?
I would be interested.
Am I?
Yes. For those that are really into the royal wedding, if you would, because I know my family would love to play Family Feud. And we got, as far as a family, the Golic family, we got 5 of us. I know 6 with Jenny, but she'd have to, unless Jenny's going to kick one of the other kids out, because I know I'm playing. I'd like to know if they would miss that for Family Feud. The royal wedding's huge.
Yeah, no, I'm all in on Family. I was just kidding. I'm all in.
I know you are. Neither one of us.
Completely all in on Family Feud. Congratulations, Royals.
Unless I get a front row. Am I in the front row watching this thing? Am I treated like royalty?
You're not treated like royalty here. Wedding? Why would they treat you like royalty?
If I am treated like one of the royals there, that may influence my decision. But I'm going to need to know that information.
You know what we need now? We need the Lords drop Royals. Yeah. That's what we need, because that's where Golic thinks he is. Golic, the Gargantuan, is now Royal.
If I am a Royal, I may go to the wedding. If I am considered a Royal.
Oh, my God.
All right, we're going to need you to give real quick answer on this one.
Here we go.
About 45 seconds. Yeah. What's one weird possession that you have that is priceless?
Weird possession?
Yeah, like what's a priceless thing in your house?
Well, I actually have one that's pretty interesting. My dad used to work for Life magazine, and he was working on the cover of Roger Staubach being on the cover of Life magazine when he was the Heisman Trophy winner in 1963, and then JFK was assassinated. So there are very few covers of that magazine, and I have one of the few of them in my possession at my house, of Roger Staubach, not JFK, on the cover of Life magazine.
There you go.
There you go. Golic has lint.
I can't beat that.
A random item in Golic pantry.
Golic has Little Debbie wrappers.
My special Thursday thong.
Oh, that's not priceless. That's
I have
worthless.
On right
There's
now
a difference.
Because it's Thursday.
Okay, we have to move on. We move on from a worthless thong to a worthless guest, Stugotz, who may or may not be invited to our leadership.